Hi, I'm Dave Eckert, and I've got a very special destination for you this week, Japan. I'll start in Tokyo, where the lights and sights are unforgettable. But it's not seafood or sumo I'm after in Japan, it's sake.
Thank you so much.
I'll take you through the whole process of making sake, starting with the rice. I'll introduce you to a second-generation rice farmer. Then head to the brewery, where the rice is transformed into one of the world's most complex beverages.
We
need rice to make sake, so we polish rice and we wash rice.
Because of its complexity and versatility, sake works with all sorts of cuisine. I'll explore that in Japan and in the U.S.
You could also do scallops or lobster, so I think it's really interchangeable. So it's a very versatile piece of protein.
I'll get some sake savvy at the always excellent Graham Elliott restaurant in Chicago from its outstanding chef owner, Graham Elliott Bowles.
They're multidimensional. They have a lot of history and romance associated with them, and that they can be used in really many different styles of cooking.
They're versatile.
Very versatile.
It's sake there and here on Culinary Travels with Dave Eckert. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When most people think of Japan, these are the images that spring to mind: the hustle and bustle, lights, and non-stop action of Tokyo. While it's true Tokyo offers many pleasures, from the world's largest fish market and daily tuna auction, to the oddly appealing sumo matches where pushing and shoving isn't frowned upon, it's highly rewarded. True, Tokyo is all of that and more, but it's just a small part of this richly diverse and dramatic country. Today, I explore a side of Japan most people never encounter. I'm heading south to the island of Shikoku and the prefecture of Ehime in search of sake. I'll start my travels in Matsuyama, the capital of Ehime. The first job was taking the chairlift to the top of the mountain, a peaceful and beautiful ride. From the peak, I was afforded a wonderful view of Matsuyama and the Seto Inland Sea beyond. Also at the top is Matsuyamajo, a beautiful original castle. This castle, like dozens throughout Japan, was built in and around the 15th century, when Japan had collapsed into a chaotic era of warring states. The castles were built on hills for vision and protection. Many were destroyed as unwelcome reminders of Japan's feudal past, and even more were lost during World War II. In fact, only about a dozen of the original castles remain, including Matsuyamajo. But it's not castles I'm seeking in Matsuyama, it's sake. Before I get to that, though, it's time for some beer. Dogo beer from the Minakuchi Brewery. They offer a wide array of brews at Minakuchi, from flavored to the more traditional lager, alt, and stout. They make sake as well, more than 100, and have for 4 generations.
Our company started in 1895 as a sake brewery. How it started was, what I heard was, because we had a great rice here in the Dogo Plains. That's how they started to make sake.
The decision to make beer as well as sake came about 100 years later.
We started to produce beer in 1996, and how we did it, it was in 1984 the regulation to make alcohol in Japan changed. Up to then, we needed to produce whatever alcohol more than 2,000 liters if you make. But then they decreased the number to 60 liters, more than 60 liters. So we thought we could do it. And also, this is a pretty touristic place in Dogo, and we have a lot of tourists for hot springs. So after they take a bath, like we would like to serve them beer. So that's how we wanted to start to produce beer.
In addition to its sake and beer, the company owns 2 restaurants in which to enjoy their beverages. The first, Bakushu Kan, offers small plates and appetizers. You could try the local fish cake with the lager, some snapper sashimi 2 ways with the ale, and a ham and radish dish with the stout. All 3 beers are very good, as were the beer and food matches. Time to stop talking and start tasting. Now obviously I can't go through the entire beer portfolio, but I thought I could highlight 3 of the most popular beers. In this case, 2 ales and a porter. Figured the best place to start was with the lightest of the ales. Beautiful color on that, almost looks a little bit like a wheat beer that we would have in the States. And in fact, it has a little of that sweetness on the nose. It's really good. It's light, but it has a good finish to it, and it's really refreshing. There's a crisp acidity there that makes that great. That would be a wonderful summertime beer. Moving on to the middle ale here. This is obviously a little bit darker, so I'm assuming a little bit fuller bodied. It does have a richer, creamier nose, which follows through very much in the mouth. Very rich, very creamy. I wouldn't classify it as an IPA. It's not as hoppy as that, but it is fuller bodied, and I would say kind of a medium bodied ale. Very nice, and a nice complement to the lighter one. Finally, moving on to the porter. I was told this is styled after more of a Irish style porter. Obviously going to be very dark. I don't think it's going to be particularly heavy though. Certainly not as heavy as say a Guinness, but I could be wrong. You get that classic porter nose, which is chocolate and coffee. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, so I don't really care for porters all that much, but this certainly has all the earmarks of a great one. It is. It is. It's a very well-made porter. You get a lot of that chocolate and a lot of really dark chocolate and coffee, and finish is very crisp and clean, though. It's not cloying on the palate. All of these 3 beers have that in common. Very crisp, very clean, wonderfully refreshing on the palate. Well-made beers.